Okay, so now I want to show you some practical applications of what you can do with this approach. Why are we doing this? What can you do with that? Okay, so here I have my polarized image on my computer screen, and it has been white balanced and exposure corrected. Okay, so that I have been able to replicate the known LAB values of my white balanced gray reference card in the image. Okay, so what am I going to do with this? Now, this is very useful for analyzing shades. And if you are on a Macintosh computer, there's a little piece of software already on your computer that you don't have to purchase, right? And you find it in the utilities folder here, and it's called the digital color meter, all right? So you open the digital color meter, and as you can see, what it does, it measures color, okay, in LAB value. So what I can do now is, while I move my cursor over any object in the image, the digital color meter is measuring the values, the color coordinates, using the LAB system. Okay, so I'm on my gray reference card here. Okay, so I'm measuring the value of the gray reference card, and now if I'm moving it over to the teeth, right? As I'm moving my cursor, I'm measuring LAB values. Now this is very useful for shade analysis. If you use shade guides, you can have a library of photos of your shade guides, and you can measure what the LAB values are of the given colors, and you can compare it with the patient's LAB values. So in this case here, this is actually something that we find quite typical in nature for young patients, right? This patient has a tooth color that is pretty high in values, about 81% luminosity. It has about 3.87% red in it, and it's got about 13% yellow in it. And this is almost like it has the luminosity of like an OM1, like a bleach color, but it's got the chroma of an A2. Okay, and we see this quite often. This is quite common. So then in Lightroom, when you hit the C key, you can compare two images side by side. So what I have here is a shot of the 3D Master Shade Guide, also with the white balanced gray reference card. And on the right hand side, I have the photo that I just took of the patient. So now, if I want to determine which tooth color comes closest to the patient's tooth color, right? I can measure by moving the cursor over to the tooth, and I'm measuring the color coordinates: 81% luminosity, nearly 4% red, and about 12.5% yellow. And then I can move over to the picture that has the shade guides in it, and then I can have a look if I find anything that sort of comes close to it. Okay, so that's what you can do with this card and this workflow if you're working with shade guides. And typically what you will find kind of exemplifies the problem that we have with shade guides, whereby the chroma distribution of the shade guide, the amount of red and the amount of yellow is something that we quite often find in nature, but unfortunately not the luminosity. So I have a few candidates here that have a chroma that is actually quite similar to what the patient has, right? But the problem I have is that I haven't got enough luminosity. I mean, this one comes pretty close, but it's like 2.5% darker than what I'm looking for. And this is a limitation of shade guides, and this has been well documented in the clinical literature over the last 10-15 years. We know that. And then I want to show you another application of this technology, which we have called the Elaborate system.